Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here today. My name is Dr. Ryosuke Nakajima, management consultant at PwC and adjunct faculty at Paris School of Management and Swiss School of Business and Management. Today, I will present my research titled The Generative AI Sales Paradox, or GASP. This study examines the tension that many organizations are beginning to experience in practice. Here is the structure of my presentation today, including objective, literature review, research method, key findings, and conclusion. Let us begin by setting the stage for this study. First, the background. In recent years, generative AI has made a strong entry into business operations, especially in sales. From generating emails to qualifying leads, AI has enabled sales teams to reach more prospects with fewer resources and at a greater speed. However, while these tools optimize efficiency, they may unintentionally reduce the personal, trust based communication that is central to long term business relationships. This brings us to the research objective. We aim to investigate what we call the Generative AI Sales Paradox, or GASP, a phenomenon where AI adoption in B2B sales improves scalability and speed, but potentially undermines emotional connection, customer satisfaction, and loyalty. The problem is critical because in B2B industries, especially those involving complex transactions, trust, emotional nuance, and ongoing dialogue are essential. When AI replaces human interaction too aggressively, companies risk weakening the very client relationship that drive long-term value. The significance of this research lies in its practical implications. Sales teams and managers need guidance not only on how to implement AI, but also on when and where human interaction remains irreplaceable. This study helps fill that gap. Our focus is on industries where this trade off is especially visible. First, manufacturing with long procurement cycles. Second, professional services, where trust and expertise matter. And third, enterprise technology, which involves high value, solution based sales. The findings we will explore today are designed to help organizations navigate this paradox with both clarity and strategy. So, before we look at the findings, let me briefly highlight the existing literature that frames this study. Researchers widely agree that generative AI is transforming B2B sales by improving speed, scalability, and data driven decision making. However, many studies caution that these gains often come at the expense of human connection, particularly in industries where trust and emotional intelligence matter most. A key concern in the literature is authenticity. AI can mimic human language, but it lacks the emotional depth and context sensitivity needed for complex client relationships. Customer satisfaction in high value deals often depends not just on speed, but on empathy and trust. To frame this paradox, I developed the scalability versus authenticity trade off theory, or SATOT. This lens helps explain why firms see efficiency gains but struggle to maintain client loyalty. With this foundation, we can now examine the result of this study. Let us move on to the research methodology. To explore the generative AI sales paradox, this study used a mixed method approach combining both qualitative and quantitative research. On the qualitative side, I conducted case studies with six B2B firms across manufacturing, professional services, and enterprise technology, industries where long term, trust based relationships are essential. Interviews with sales managers and customer facing staff provided insight into how generative AI has changed their workflows, from lead generation to client communication. On the quantitative side, I surveyed 250 B2B companies from the same sectors. The survey measured changes in operational efficiency, customer satisfaction, sales scalability, and revenue trends. This allowed me to quantify patterns and confirm the broader relevance of the case study observations. Finally, I applied a theoretical lens, the scalability versus authenticity trade off theory, SATOT, to frame the core dilemma: how firms balance the benefit of AI driven scale with the risk of losing personal connection. So, this integrated methodology allowed for a fuller picture of both the measurable outcomes and human factors involved in using generative AI in B2B sales. Now, let me move to the central findings of the study. The first major finding is that generative AI clearly improved efficiency. Across both case studies and survey data, firms reported faster lead qualification, less time spent on repetitive administrative tasks, the broader outreach capacity. In many cases, AI reduced the time needed for lead qualification by around 25 to 40%, and individual salespeople were able to handle significantly more leads than before. So, an operational perspective, AI totally worked. However, the second major finding is that these efficiency gains were accompanied by a noticeable relationship cost. Many customers and sales staff reported that AI generated communication felt too formulaic, too generic, or too impersonal. Clients appreciated fast responses, but often felt that something important was missing: empathy, contextual understanding, and a sense of genuine partnership. This was particularly visible in complex, long term, or high value in B2B relationships. For example, in one case, a consulting firm reported declining client satisfaction because long term customers felt responses had become less emotionally aware and less tailored. In another example, a manufacturing client said AI generated proposals were technically accurate but failed to reflect the client's unique situation. So these examples illustrate that accuracy alone is not enough in relationship driven sales. Third, the study found that the revenue pattern was mixed over time. In the short term, many firms did experience positive revenue effects. AI helped them move faster, reach more prospects, and close more deals in the early stages. But over the longer term, the results were less positive. Around half of the companies reported that revenue either plateaued or began to decline after the initial gains. So, repeat businesses also suffered in many cases, with some firms attributing this to excessive automation and weaker client connection. So the survey findings reinforce this pattern quantitatively. There was a strong positive relationship between AI use and sales scalability, but a negative relationship between AI led interaction and customer satisfaction. The data also suggested that AI can create a short term revenue boost of about 10 to 15%, while long term growth may flatten or decline if customer engagement weakens. So, the key message from the finding is AI improves speed and scale, but if firms over automate the relationship layer of sales, they may undermine the very loyalty and trust that sustain long term commercial performance. This slide covers the theoretical lens guiding our analysis, what we call the scalability versus authenticity trade off theory, or SATOT. The core idea is simple. As companies scale sales operations using generative AI, they often compromise the quality of customer relationships. AI brings speed and reach, but it lacks emotional nuance and adaptability traits that are essential in building trust, especially in high value B2B environments. Our findings reflect this trade off clearly. While AI improved efficiency in lead handling and outreach, a client began to feel that interactions lacked empathy or deep understanding. The SATOT framework helps explain why customer satisfaction and repeat business declined despite gains in short term performance. This theory does not suggest abandoning AI. Instead, it emphasizes the importance of balance. Firms need to deploy AI for scalable tasks, but preserve human involvement where emotional intelligence and strategic thinking are required. Ultimately, SATOT pushes us to rethink how we integrate AI, reminding us that technology should support, not replace, the human connection that drives long term success in B2B sales. Based on the findings, we propose a hybrid model. Let AI handle routine tasks like scheduling or drafting emails, but keep humans at the center of strategic discussions, negotiations, and relationship management. This way, we retain efficiency without losing the personal element. Also, here are five recommendations. One, do not fully automate client interactions. Two, use AI for insights, not as a phase of communication. Three, train your sales teams to work alongside AI. Four, segment your client to match the right engagement style. And five, monitor feedback continuously to adjust as needed. To conclude, this research explored the generative AI sales paradox, how generative AI boosts efficiency and scale in B2B sales, but at the risk of weakening the personal connections that drive long term client relationships. We found that while AI improved lead processing and communication speed, it also led to a decline in customer satisfaction and loyalty, especially in industries where trust and personalizations are key. Clients often felt interactions lacked empathy and depth, resulting in reduced repeat business and slower long term growth. Our proposed solution is a hybrid model: AI for routine tasks and human professionals for relationship driven conversations. This approach allows firms to stay efficient while maintaining the emotional intelligence needed to build trust. Ultimately, adapting AI in B2B sales should be about balance. Firms that use AI thoughtfully without losing the human element are more likely to build sustainable growth and deeper customer relationships. That'll be all for my presentation. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.